Stephanie Swanberg. She is the Information Literacy and E-Learning Librarian over at Oakland University School of Medicine. What an interesting job you must have. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. I'm super excited to be here today and talking with you.
I will say, as a librarian, what is your thoughts on actual books versus ebooks? It's such a debate.
Well, if you can see my background, I am still a fan of print books, but ebooks definitely have their place. And as a medical librarian, pretty much I work in an all digital library. So the majority of our books are online. Our students want them online to be able to access them 24/7. So I I can see the advantages of both, but when we're all at home working on Zoom all day, I love just being able to get away from the screen for a little bit and be able to read a print book.
It's the sound of turning the pages and the smell of the book as well. What is it? What is a day in your job like?
Every day is a little different, but I will say the majority of the time I'm working with both our medical students and our faculty, both in teaching them how to find the best available health information, which of course, right now, COVID is kind of the main area that we're looking at. So we're teaching our students how do you find the best available, most recent and reliable up-to-date information regarding the latest techniques in COVID treatment, other things. I also work with quite a few faculty on their research projects, and this is all over the place. It may be related to education projects, working in clinical projects with clinical faculty and supporting them in that way, in a collaborative way, locating the best available literature. And one of my personal passions is, of course, community outreach. This is a big area that I work in, and I coordinate most of our activities with the medical library. But our medical school, OUWB School of Medicine, is very community focused. So one of my major roles is to find ways that the medical library can contribute to help promote healthy behaviors and health information in the greater community.
And so, with that, Stephanie, if I'm a member of the community and I have a question, can I just call you up and you'll help me find those answers?
Yes, we do get calls from the community every once in a while. It's not as common. People think to go to their public library in their neighborhood, but the university library is open to any calls or emails that come in from the public. So yes, if you had a question and called us up or emailed us, I would totally answer it.
So, what's it been like for you and the staff there at the Oakland University School of Medicine and the library during the pandemic and COVID? Are you shut down? Are you back open? Do you have limited hours? How is that working right now?
So our library building on campus has actually been open since mid-August. We tried to coordinate with the start of our medical school classes, which starts about a month earlier than the rest of the university. And so we've been literally working all summer to try to figure out what are the best ways to keep the building open while keeping our students and staff safe. And so right now we have somewhat limited hours. We used to be a 24/7 library, so anyone could come in any time of day or night. Now we are limited to shorter hours during the day, but we are allowing our students to come in at any time. They can stay as long as they like. They can study. They can pull our materials to check out. Whatever they'd like to do during those open hours, we are open and available as long as they practice social distancing guidelines and wear a mask. And some people have been taking advantage of it, but because most of the classes at Oakland are online or a hybrid, we haven't been seeing the numbers that we would typically see in a normal fall semester at our university.
Stephanie Swanberg with us. She is the Information Literacy and E-Learning Librarian at the Oakland University William Beaumont School of Medicine, joining us today on the Oakland County MegaCast. And Stephanie, right now, currently, there is of course, a push to help solve and mitigate COVID-19, but there's still a great need for donations of blood, marrow, and other things as well from the general public. And OU is currently in the middle of a bone marrow drive. Could you tell us a little bit about that? What's the difference with it this year as opposed to previous years, and how people can get involved?
Of course. Thanks, Tyler. So just to give a little bit of background, this is actually the 9th year that we have hosted a donor registration drive on campus, and it is promoted through the medical school, but it truly is a campus-wide event. Anyone can register, whether they're an Oakland affiliate or not. And essentially, during COVID-19, really the focus in the health news has been on COVID and the changes that we're seeing. But there are thousands of patients out there that have different types of blood or bone marrow diseases and cancers that are still ongoing despite the pandemic. And one of the issues that we're seeing is that there aren't as many people registering to be on the registry because of the restrictions for COVID, the fear that they may not be able to go through with the donation process. And so we're really working with Be the Match, the national organization that hosts the registry and promotes the knowledge that, hey, you could literally save someone's life that has leukemia or lymphoma with pretty much these days a simple blood donation. People often are fearful when I say, hey, would you like to join the bone marrow registry? And really, it's in most cases, most patients who are a match will be able to get that donation just through a simple a simple blood donation. So it's called a peripheral blood stem cell donation, and it's like giving blood. You would just take a drug to boost your blood cells for a couple of days before the procedure. Sit in a chair, just wait, and just like you would give blood, and then once you're done, those blood cells then go to the patient in need. And this year is a little different, of course. Typically, we host this in person on campus. We have registration tables where our volunteers are actively recruiting and talking to people about the bone marrow donation process and how to get on the registry. This year, we're having an entirely social media and online-based campaign to really spread the word. And it does present some challenges, but we're hoping through things like this and media outlets, we can get the word out there. So to answer your second question of how can people get involved? So what's happening this year is we're actually having a virtual challenge with some of the other medical schools in the state. So it's OUWB versus University of Michigan, Wayne State, and the Western Michigan Homer Stryker School of Medicine. So we're competing against each other to try and register the most bone marrow donors during the month of October 15th to November 15th. So essentially, to sign up, we're looking for people that are between the ages of 18 and 44 that are in healthy condition. There are some restrictions in terms of if you have existing health conditions like cancers or any bone marrow or blood diseases, then you're not eligible. But otherwise, we are just looking for healthy individuals to be able to register. And you can either do it via text or go to the website. So if you're going to support our OUWB numbers, you can go to join.bethematch.org/OUWB or text MSOUWB to 61474. That's MSOUWB to 61474.
So Stephanie, with that, if let's say I do decide that I want to donate, how does it go from you drawing the blood, taking the blood, to actually matching an individual with another person in need?
So really what this process is in the beginning is we're just getting you to sign up to be on the registry. You're not actively donating at this point. The likelihood of you being a match for someone is actually very low. You remain on the registry until age 60, and the number of people that match is extremely low. So what happens is once you fill out the form, you'll get a swab kit mailed to you at your home address, and that will give you instructions on how to actually complete that. So what you do is you actually swab the inside of your cheek, and that pulls DNA that is then sent back into Be the Match. Be the Match then puts that information into the registry, and anytime a patient in a hospital is looking for a donor match, the hospital would go to the registry and say, these are the parameters we're looking for, and they would then go into the database. So if you happen to be a potential match, you'll get a phone call from Be the Match saying, hey, we have a patient in need. There is a possibility that you may be a match, and then you'll be asked to come in for additional testing at any of the local Be the Match facilities. So if you get through all of those steps, that then becomes the process where you would actually go in, sit, donate your blood, and then that blood would then be given to the patient to help cure their disease.
So in the beginning, it's just really a cheek swab.
It is. That is all. Fill out a form, get a cheek swab kit, mail it back in, and that's all. So we're not asking for anything right now in terms of actual donation.
Well, when I donate my blood, I get cookies. So I guess I have to wait for the cookies then, right?
Yep, you'll get some treats along with this too. So.
But in all seriously, for the people that do need this, it could be life-changing for them.
Exactly. When I tell people, hey, do you know you could actually save someone's life who has cancer, that you could give them a cure for cancer just by giving a simple blood donation, their eyes widen and they're like, wait, what? There's a cure for cancer just by giving blood? Like, that catches them the very first moment, and from there, then you get to explain the process and all the things that could be made better by this. And it's just not patients with leukemia and lymphoma. There are many, many other blood and bone marrow diseases that could be treatable to increase quality of life, to increase patients' just ability to feel okay. And that could be anything from sickle cell disease to myelodysplastic syndrome disorders to anemia. There are so many diseases that can actually be treated by this program. I actually do have a personal story too to share. I never thought when I started this drive back in 2012 that it would personally impact me. And a couple years ago, my mom was actually diagnosed with a very, very rare bone marrow disorder, and that's called autoimmune myelofibrosis. And it is a disease that basically attacks the bone marrow production, and so your bone marrow is the thing that produces all of your blood cells, your red blood cells, your white blood cells, and your platelets. So once your bone marrow stops producing, you become really susceptible to infection. And unfortunately, a bone marrow transplant was not a possibility for my mom. She was not in any condition to be able to accept that. And again, it's such a rare disease with so few studies being done on it. Things are being changed every day with how to treat it. And unfortunately, she passed away about a year after being diagnosed with that in 2018. And I don't think it hits you until you really personally experience that, how much this could have an impact. If someone had been a match for her and been able to save her life, I would have been grateful to the moon. Just the possibility of giving someone else that possibility for their family member or their loved one, I would, in a heartbeat, give them that opportunity.
Stephanie, we're so sorry to hear about your mom, and I'm sure she would be proud of you and the work that you're doing and trying to help save other lives. And if someone is a match, what is the next step? I mean, because from that point on, it becomes a little bit more serious for them to take that next step then, correct?
Exactly. So once you get the call from Be the Match to be a potential match, the process may take several weeks in between going in and getting those initial tests just to confirm that you are for sure a match with this potential patient. And they do everything. They look at different protein markers. They look at your ethnic background. They look at everything to try to make a perfect match. If the initial test shows that you aren't a good match, then unfortunately it'll have to step back and kind of do that. But if you are a match, then once those tests are complete, you would then go through just kind of an initial process to prep your body for it. So again, the idea is to boost your blood cells. So you want to boost your red blood cells, boost your white blood cells so that they can become just at the maximum that they could possibly become at this point. So when you go to donate your blood, as many cells as possible are included in that donation. And so that entire process takes several weeks once you get that call. And at any point, you can say if you're not comfortable, if there's something else going on in your life, if you're just not at the point you're ready to donate, you could step back at any point and say, not right now, and that's okay. But that potential is still there, and it does take a few weeks once you get that initial call to actually make the donation.
Stephanie Swanberg with us. She is the Information Literacy and E-Learning Librarian at the Oakland University Beaumont School of Medicine with us today on the Oakland County MegaCast. Stephanie, the annual OUWB Bone Marrow Drive is currently going on. It is virtual. It's running now through November 15th. So far, with it being virtual this year, how has the response been? Has it been similar to years past, better, worse? And what is the need going forward in terms of response to either match previous years or exceed the need in this special year and special circumstances?
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Tyler. So up to this point, over the last several years, we've registered over 250 new bone marrow donors. This year, we're going to be getting weekly updates from Be the Match on how we're doing. And we haven't got an update yet because this just started. But next week, we should be getting some numbers. But I've had so many people email me or call me or ask me, hey, I am so glad to see that you're doing this. We've been getting so much engagement on social media. And that's another way that we can kind of gauge how we're doing right now. The goal would be at the end of November 15th. That's kind of the cutoff point, is to see how many donors that we registered. And on a typical year, we register around 30 to 40. And again, it just depends on the year. I'm hoping we can just shoot that out of the water this year because, again, we want this to be just as impactful as previous years. And moving forward, I mean, we're hoping that next year we can do something in person, but this has proven to be just as effective, and we've been developing videos and promotional things to get people aware of what this is and what we can do, and working with a lot of our undergraduate student organizations to help spread the word. So we'll see. I'm very optimistic, though. I think, again, once you tell people that you could potentially cure someone's leukemia, they just stop in their tracks. They're like, wait, what? I can do that?
And what an amazing gift it would be able to give to someone and their entire family and all those that they love. November 15th, that is the date that your deadline, 30 to 40 people. We definitely hope that you not only meet that number, but you exceed that number as well. Stephanie Swanberg with us here on the Oakland County MegaCast. And again, do you want to give out the website for people if they are interested and where they can sign up if they want to take part?
Yes, exactly. So if you're going to be supporting our OUWB drive, you'll want to go to join.bethematch.org/MSOUWB. So again, that's join.bethematch.org/MSOUWB. Alternatively, you can text that same code MSOUWB to 61474. So that's 61474. You can also follow us on social media. So our School of Medicine Facebook pages, Instagram, and Twitter are active right now. We're promoting, we're having videos up there. So you can also follow OUWB School of Medicine on those various social media sites to get updates and just see how we're doing throughout the drive.
Well, Stephanie, we wish you all the best of luck, and thank you for doing this and helping so many people.